In the vast expanse of space, humanity had always wondered if we were alone. That question was answered on a cold October morning when massive alien ships darkened the skies above Earth's major cities. But what these advanced beings didn't expect was humanity's unwavering spirit and one particular ship that would make them question everything they thought they knew about our species. The year was 2157, and Earth had just launched its first true interstellar battleship, the TSS Aurora. She wasn't the biggest ship in our fleet, nor was she the most technologically advanced by the aliens' standards. But what made her special was the culmination of human ingenuity, determination, and that peculiar trait that had helped our species survive through the ages, our ability to adapt and overcome. I was there on the bridge when it all began. As the ship's tactical officer, I had spent countless hours training for first contact scenarios. But nothing could have prepared us for what we encountered. The Alien Federation, as they called themselves, had arrived with their crystalline ships, each one larger than any structure humanity had ever built. They expected us to bow down, to surrender our resources and become another subjugated species in their vast empire. Their arrogance would be their undoing. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the helm, her weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the tactical displays. "They think size matters," she said with a slight smile, her eyes fixed on the massive alien flagship that loomed before us. "Let's show them what Earth's finest can do." Her words carried the weight of humanity's hopes and dreams, our refusal to go quietly into the night. The Aurora might have been smaller, but she was quick and agile. More importantly, she carried humanity's greatest secret, a defense system that turned our enemies' strength against them. We had learned from studying meteorite impacts, from countless simulations, and from the very forces of nature itself. The Aurora's quantum deflection shields didn't just block enemy fire. They redirected it, amplified it, and sent it back with devastating precision. As the alien ships opened fire, expecting an easy victory, their energy beams struck our shields. The bridge crew held their breath. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of decades of research and development. The shields flickered, hummed, and then something magical happened. The alien energy weapons bounced back, their power multiplied tenfold, striking their own ships with unprecedented force. The confusion in their communications was palpable. They had never encountered anything like this before. Their crystalline ships, so beautiful and imposing, began to crack under the strain of their own weapons. The Aurora danced through space, each movement calculated and precise, drawing more fire and sending it back with devastating results. But this was just the beginning. As I monitored the tactical display, watching the alien fleet's formation crumble, I couldn't help but think about what this meant for humanity. We weren't just fighting for survival. We were showing the galaxy that humanity would not be underestimated. We had taken our greatest weakness, our relative technological inferiority, and turned it into our greatest strength. The battle wasn't over, though. Despite their initial losses, the Alien Federation was vast, and this was just their first wave. As their remaining ships regrouped, preparing for another assault, Captain Chen's voice cut through the tension on the bridge. "All hands, battle stations. They've seen what we can do. Now let's show them what happens when they back humanity into a corner." The stars seemed to hold their breath as both sides prepared for the next phase of the battle. The Aurora's engines hummed with power, her shields ready to once again demonstrate why Earth's first battleship had become the aliens' worst nightmare. As we faced down their reinforcements, one thing became crystal clear. Humanity's chapter in the stars was just beginning, and it would be written in terms that no alien civilization would ever forget. The alien reinforcements arrived in a cascade of blinding light, their ships emerging from what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. There were dozens of them now, each one carrying enough firepower to level a continent. But there was something different about these ships. They were darker, more angular, clearly designed for war rather than the crystalline beauty of the first wave. "They're adapting," Lieutenant Rodriguez muttered from his sensor station, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "These ships are showing different energy signatures. They've modified their weapons." He was right. The Alien Federation hadn't survived this long by being slow learners. They had analyzed their losses and adjusted their strategy accordingly. Captain Chen remained calm, her posture relaxed but alert. "That's exactly what we wanted them to do," she said, exchanging knowing looks with her senior staff. The Aurora's designing engineers had anticipated this very scenario. Our ship wasn't just built with one trick up its sleeve. It was designed to be as adaptable as the human spirit itself. As the new alien ships moved into attack formation, I noticed something unusual on my tactical display. Their approach was different, more cautious, more coordinated. They were testing us, probing for weaknesses. The Federation had clearly realized that brute force alone wouldn't be enough to defeat Earth's defenders. The Aurora's internal systems hummed as Captain Chen initiated our secondary defense protocols. The quantum deflection shields began to pulse with a different rhythm, their energy signature shifting in ways that even we didn't fully understand. This was the true genius of human engineering. We had created systems that could evolve and adapt during combat, learning and growing just as we did. The first shots from the alien ships came not as direct energy beams this time, but as a scatter of smaller, faster projectiles. They were hoping to overwhelm our shields with multiple points of impact. The bridge crew tensed, but Captain Chen's confident smile never wavered. "Let's show them why humanity never puts all its eggs in one basket," she announced. The Aurora's secondary defense system sprang to life. Instead of reflecting the attacks, our shields began to absorb them, converting the energy into a swirling vortex around our ship. The alien projectiles fueled our own power systems, charging our weapons beyond their normal capabilities. It was like watching a dance of light and energy, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Power levels at 180% and climbing," Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with controlled excitement. "The conversion matrix is stable." This was the moment we had trained for, the culmination of humanity's greatest technological achievement. We weren't just defending ourselves. We were turning the laws of physics themselves into our allies. The Alien Federation's command ship, a massive fortress of dark metal and pulsing energy, moved to the front of their formation. Their next attack would be coordinated, designed to overcome our defenses through sheer complexity. But they still didn't understand what they were truly facing. The Aurora wasn't just a ship. It was humanity's answer to the question of our place in the cosmos. As both fleets faced each other across the void of space, I couldn't help but think about all the science fiction stories humans had written over the centuries. We had imagined this moment countless times, dreamed of it, prepared for it. But reality had proved even more incredible than our wildest fantasies. Here we were, not just holding our own against an advanced alien civilization, but showing them that humanity's greatest strength wasn't our technology. It was our ability to think differently, to find solutions where others saw only problems. Captain Chen stood from her chair, her eyes fixed on the massive alien fleet before us. "All hands," she announced, her voice carrying through every compartment of the Aurora. "Prepare for Phase 3. Let's show them why you never corner a species that turned their entire planet into a proving ground for survival." Phase 3 was something we had only tested in simulations. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but it represented everything humanity stood for. Our willingness to risk everything in pursuit of survival. As Captain Chen initiated the sequence, the Aurora's engines began to pulse with a deep, resonant frequency that seemed to vibrate through the very fabric of space. The alien fleet must have detected something was different. Their ships began to move into a defensive formation, their weapons charging with enough power to shatter a small moon. But they hesitated, unsure of what we were planning. That moment of uncertainty was all we needed. The Aurora's hull began to glow with an intense blue light, the energy we had absorbed from their attacks now coursing through special conduits built into the very structure of our ship. "Power conversion at maximum capacity," Rodriguez announced, his voice barely audible over the deep thrumming of the engines. "Quantum field stability at 97% and holding." What the Alien Federation didn't know was that the Aurora wasn't just a battleship. It was also the most advanced scientific experiment humanity had ever conducted. The ship's entire design was based on a theory that had seemed impossible just a decade ago: the ability to temporarily alter the fundamental forces of physics in a localized area of space. "All hands, "Brace for gravitational distortion," Captain Chen commanded, her hands gripping the arms of her chair. "Initiating quantum field expansion in 3, 2, 1. The ship shuddered as the energy we had accumulated began to radiate outward in waves of shimmering blue light. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and spectacular. Their massive ships, so imposing and powerful, began to experience localized gravitational anomalies. The space around them warped and twisted, their own mass working against them. It was like watching giants trying to wade through invisible quicksand. But the aliens weren't finished. Their command ship launched what looked like thousands of smaller vessels, each one seemingly immune to the gravitational distortions. They had anticipated something like this, prepared countermeasures. These smaller ships moved with incredible speed, their weapons systems charging. "Multiple targeting solutions incoming," I reported, watching as my tactical display lit up with countless threat warnings. "They're attempting to overwhelm our defenses through distributed attacks. It was a solid strategy. If they couldn't beat us with power, they would try to exhaust our capabilities through sheer numbers." The Aurora's shields flickered as the first wave of attacks hit us. Our energy absorption systems were working overtime, trying to process the massive influx of power. Warning alarms began to sound throughout the ship as we approached critical levels. "Shields stability dropping to 83%. Rodriguez called out. "We can't absorb much more without risking a core overload." Captain Chen's expression remained focused, almost serene, as she watched the battle unfold. "Maintain course and speed," she ordered. "Redirect power from non-essential systems to the quantum field generators. We're not done showing them what humanity can do." The alien swarm pressed their attack, their smaller ships moving in complex patterns designed to find weaknesses in our defenses. But they still didn't understand what they were truly facing. The Aurora's quantum field wasn't just a weapon. It was about to become something that would rewrite the rules of space combat forever. As our ship's systems approached their limits, warning lights bathing the bridge in an eerie red glow, Captain Chen stood up. The moment we had prepared for was finally here. "All hands," she announced, her voice steady and clear, "prepare for quantum resonance cascade. Let's show these aliens why humanity named our first true battleship after the dawn itself." The alien fleet loomed before us, their weapons charged to maximum power, ready to deliver what they thought would be a killing blow. But as the Aurora's systems reached critical mass, the true nature of our ship's design was about to be revealed. We weren't just fighting for survival anymore. We were about to demonstrate why challenging humanity's creativity was the biggest mistake the Alien Federation had ever made. The quantum resonance cascade began with a whisper rather than a roar. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The alien swarm continued their attack patterns, their energy weapons straining our shields. But then something changed in the fabric of space itself. The Aurora's accumulated energy wasn't just being released. It was being transformed in ways that defied conventional physics. Quantum field harmonics reaching critical frequency, Rodriguez reported, his voice filled with a mixture of awe and concern. "The cascade is beginning to affect their shield frequencies." On our view screens, we watched as waves of invisible force began to ripple through space, causing the alien ship's energy barriers to flicker and distort. But then something unexpected happened, something not even our simulations had predicted. The quantum cascade wasn't just affecting the alien ship's shields, it was creating a chain reaction in their crystalline hull structure. The very material they had used to build their mighty vessels was beginning to resonate with our quantum field. Captain Chen leaned forward in her chair, her eyes narrowing as she studied the sensor readings. "They're ships," she said slowly. "They're not just made of crystal. They're living crystal." This revelation sent shockwaves through the bridge crew. We weren't just fighting machines. We were facing vessels that were partially organic, grown rather than built. The Alien Federation's response was immediate and devastating. Their command ships suddenly split apart, revealing an inner core that pulsed with blinding energy. It was as if they had been hiding their true capabilities all along, waiting for the right moment to reveal their full power. The living crystal ships began to merge and transform, their structures flowing like liquid metal. Energy readings off the scale, I called out from my tactical station. They're channeling power through their crystalline network. It's like they're creating some kind of unified consciousness. The smaller ships were being absorbed into the larger ones, each merger increasing their power exponentially. The Aurora shuddered as new forms of energy began battering our shields. These weren't simple weapons anymore. The aliens were somehow turning the fundamental forces of the universe against us, using their living ships to manipulate reality itself. Our quantum resonance cascade, which had seemed so powerful moments ago, now felt like a candle in a hurricane. Multiple hull breaches on decks 5 through 8, Rodriguez reported, his hands flying over his console. The quantum field is destabilizing. We can't maintain the cascade against this level of interference. Emergency force fields snapped into place throughout the ship as atmosphere vented into space. But Captain Chen's expression wasn't one of defeat. It was one of revelation. "They're not trying to destroy us," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos on the bridge. "They're trying to communicate. The quantum resonance. It's creating a bridge between our technologies, between our species." The realization hit us all at once. Our quantum field experiments hadn't just created a weapon. They had accidentally invented a new form of communication. The living crystal ships weren't attacking. They were reaching out, trying to establish a connection in the only way they knew how. As the Aurora's systems struggled to cope with the overwhelming energy exchange, Captain Chen made a decision that would change the course of human history. "Divert all power to the quantum field generators," she ordered. "But this time, don't fight the resonance. Let's try to match their frequency." The bridge crew looked at her in shock. What she was suggesting was completely untested, potentially suicidal. We would be opening ourselves up completely to an alien force we barely understood. But as I looked at the tactical display, watching the intricate dance of energy between our ships, I began to understand. This wasn't just about winning a battle anymore. It was about taking humanity's first steps into a much larger universe. The alien ships continued their transformation, their crystalline structures now forming patterns that seemed to pulse with meaning. As the Aurora's quantum field began to synchronize with their energy signatures, we stood on the brink of either transcendent first contact or total annihilation. The next few moments would determine not just our fate, but the future of human-alien relations forever. As the Aurora's quantum field synchronized with the alien crystalline network, something extraordinary happened. The space between our ships began to shimmer with patterns of light that seemed to form complex, three-dimensional symbols. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as these symbols began to arrange themselves into recognizable mathematical sequences. "It's a universal language," Captain Chen breathed, her eyes wide with understanding. "They're using quantum harmonics to share their knowledge with us." The living crystal ships had stopped their transformation, now forming a vast geometric pattern around the Aurora. Each point in their formation pulsed in perfect rhythm with our ship's quantum field. But our moment of discovery was interrupted by a critical warning from the engineering deck. "Captain, the quantum synchronization is causing a cascade effect in our power core." Chief Engineer Wilson's voice crackled through the comm system. "We've got maybe 5 minutes before total system failure." The price of this communication was pushing our technology beyond its limits. The alien ships must have detected our predicament because their formation began to shift again. The crystalline structures flowed like liquid starlight, creating a protective sphere around the Aurora. Energy readings from their ships showed they were channeling massive amounts of power, but not to attack. They were trying to stabilize our failing systems. "They're offering to help," I reported from Tactical, watching as the alien energy signatures merged with our own. But there's something else. My console revealed a pattern I had never seen before. The aliens weren't just trying to save our ship. They were sharing something far more valuable, the fundamental secrets of their crystal technology. Captain Chen made a decision that would reshape humanity's future. "Interface our quantum core with their crystal matrix," she ordered. "Let them show us what they're trying to teach us." It was a risk, but one that felt right in every fiber of our beings. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for, not just first contact, but first understanding. The merger of technologies was unlike anything we had imagined. The Aurora's quantum field began to crystallize, creating new structures within our ship's systems. Our metallic hull started resonating with the same frequencies as the alien vessels. We weren't just communicating with them. We were evolving. But then came the twist that none of us expected. As our systems merged, we discovered the truth about the Alien Federation's first attack. They hadn't come to conquer Earth. They had come to test us. The entire battle had been an elaborate evaluation, a test to see if humanity was ready to join something far greater than ourselves. "Captain," Rodriguez called out, his voice filled with awe. "I'm receiving images, star maps. They're showing us thousands of civilizations, all connected through this crystal network. It's some kind of galactic community. The screen's filled with visions of worlds and species we had never imagined, all linked together through the same technology we were now beginning to understand." The Aurora's power core stabilized, but not because we had fixed it. It had transformed, becoming a hybrid of human ingenuity and alien crystal technology. Our ship was now something entirely new. A bridge between two civilizations, a symbol of what was possible when fear gave way to understanding. Captain Chen stood at the center of the bridge, her figure illuminated by the crystalline glow that now pulsed through the Aurora's systems. "Send a message to Earth Command," she said, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Tell them to prepare for visitors. Real visitors this time. And tell them," she paused, looking out at the vast fleet that now surrounded us not as enemies, but as teachers, "tell them that humanity just graduated." The alien ships began to drift apart, creating a corridor of light that led to what appeared to be a quantum gateway. Through it, we could see glimpses of worlds beyond our imagination. The Aurora, Earth's first true battleship, had become something far more important, our first step into a larger universe, our key to the stars themselves. But as we prepared to follow our new allies through the gateway, our sensors detected something else, something moving at the edge of our solar system. Something ancient was stirring, awakened by our quantum resonance experiment. We had passed the Alien Federation's test, but perhaps that was just the beginning. Perhaps the real challenge was still to come. The ancient signal grew stronger as we approached the quantum gateway, its presence like a deep bass note resonating through space itself. The Alien Federation's ships shifted formation again, their crystalline structures glowing with new patterns we were just beginning to understand. Through our newly transformed systems, we could sense their mixture of concern and curiosity. "They didn't know about this either," Captain Chen said, interpreting the quantum signals we were receiving. "Whatever's out there, it's older than their Federation. The Aurora's hybrid systems were picking up fragments of data, echoes of something that had been sleeping in the dark spaces between stars for millions of years." Earth Command's response to our earlier message came through, crackling with static but clear in its intent. "Proceed with first contact protocols, but exercise extreme caution. The whole world is watching Aurora. Make history." The weight of that responsibility settled over the bridge crew like a physical presence. The ancient signal suddenly shifted, focusing its attention directly on us. Through our crystalline sensors, we could feel its curiosity, its intelligence. It wasn't hostile. It was welcoming. Like a parent watching their child take their first steps into a larger world, it had been waiting for this moment, waiting for humanity to prove itself ready. "It's a guardian," Rodriguez whispered, his console displaying complex patterns of energy that somehow translated into pure meaning in our minds. The Federation's test wasn't just about us joining them. It was about us being ready to meet this. The ancient entity's presence grew stronger, its consciousness touching our minds through the crystal technology that now infused the Aurora. Images flooded our shared awareness, glimpses of ancient civilizations, of wars and peace, of species rising and falling across billions of years. The Guardian had watched it all, guiding those who were ready, protecting them from those who weren't. And now it had awakened for us, for humanity's first steps into the cosmic community. Captain Chen stood from her chair, her expression filled with wonder and determination. "Send a message to Earth," she commanded. "Tell them we were never alone. Tell them we were always meant to reach this point, to join something greater than ourselves. But tell them we don't have to lose who we are to become part of it." The Alien Federation's ships began to pulse with new energy, their crystals singing in harmony with the ancient Guardian's presence. The Aurora's systems responded automatically, our hybrid technology adapting and evolving. We weren't just witnessing history. We were becoming part of it, part of a story that had been unfolding since before our species walked upright. Multiple quantum signatures detected. I reported from Tactical, watching as new gateways began to open around us. Through each one, we could see different worlds, different civilizations, all connected through the same crystalline network. The Guardian's gift to us wasn't just technology or knowledge. It was connection. As the Aurora prepared to make its first journey through the quantum gateway, Captain Chen addressed the crew one final time. "Remember this moment," she said, her voice carrying the weight of history. "Remember that we came out here expecting to fight for our survival, and instead found our destiny. Remember that strength isn't just about weapons or shields. It's about having the courage to reach out, to understand, to grow." The ancient Guardian's presence enveloped our ship like a blessing as we moved forward. Behind us, Earth shone like a blue jewel in the darkness. Ahead of us lay endless possibilities, countless worlds and civilizations waiting to share their stories with us. We had started this journey as warriors, ready to defend our world against any threat. We were ending it as explorers, as students, as part of something far greater than we had ever imagined. The Aurora, Earth's first true battleship, had become humanity's first bridge to the stars, and as we crossed that bridge, we carried with us the lesson that had brought us to this moment. True strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the courage to understand, to adapt, and to grow beyond our own limitations.